So U.S. manufacturing is facing a pretty critical skills gap in their workforce. So there is, over the next decade, an estimated over 3 million positions that could go unfilled unless we're able to really upskill workers as well as create some skills for new workers. And so, this has been on the minds of manufacturers for the last several years as they're seeing turnover, baby boomers retiring, increases in technology, increases in these advancements that are happening within the sectors. The majority of the sector is white and male, and there's untapped resources with women and people of color, and a lot of the communities that have really not had access to these positions in the past. And so that's an area where I think a lot of manufacturers could benefit from doing some outreach to those communities, so women and people of color that could potentially fill some of those vacancies. Jane Addams Resource Corporation, we work to ensure that people that work don't live in poverty. The way that we do that is through a couple of different training programs. So we train both new hires as well as existing workers. We have locations in Chicago, Baltimore, and Providence. In addition to just the job training piece, we also provide a variety of wraparound support services that really helps people transition from living in a more lower socioeconomic status to more of a middle class lifestyle. And so the goal of those services is to take someone, who is living in poverty to a place where they're financially stable. All of this technology and equipment that we utilize is also utilized in the industry. So when people are, welding or they're running a machine at JARC, they are going to see those machines and that equipment out when they go into the workforce.
All right, so I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and it's really wild because we are known for a couple of things. We're known as being the new tech capital of the world. They call us the Silicon Valley of the Midwest. But we're also known for having the top murder rate in violent crimes for the past 10 years running. So there was always like this weird dual-sided thing about the city that we lived in, where there was a whole lot of opportunity, but if you're not around it or in proximity of it, it's tough for you to change your life.
70% of children that are in poverty as children remain in poverty as adults. And so we really want that percentage to go down. So we're looking for, opportunities where families can not only get a good job, but that they can create wealth so that they can pass that on to other generations.
I feel like a lot of times when you come from places like where I came from, like Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, there are opportunities that people give for training and try to get job placement. But a lot of times, the jobs that they're training for and the jobs that they get on the back end of this, these jobs aren't jobs that can turn into careers or that can be sustainable for a family, or jobs that can actually, help move you from your social economic status. So it was really important to me to help connect people with jobs that turn into careers and jobs that actually matter, right? It's really important for me to connect the people with the best so that they're training on a career of the future. They're training with the best software, the softwares that the big companies use, so that these skills are something that's transferable to a high-paying career that they can have forever, right? So the software is important. The type of training is important. Mastercam and SolidWorks are the top of the top. When you go to any manufacturing company, they're either running Mastercam or they're looking for somebody to help them get to Mastercam. And that's like the pinnacle of where they want to be. So when we are, training in this software, now we're becoming experts in places, and we can become the SME when we send people into a place that doesn't have Mastercam necessarily. Now our people can become the trainers and they can become the experts there, which is high paid, you know, so programmers get paid a whole lot. Mastercam programmers get paid a whole lot more. And we want to, you know, help people rise. I was in a position where I just didn't have resources, skills. We didn't have like a lot of people that were sewing into us or like help us, right? So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew what I didn't want to be. And I knew I didn't want to continue to, you know, do the things that I was doing in the streets. I didn't want to keep selling drugs. I didn't want to keep, you know, being in shootouts and like stuff like that. I wanted my kids to see me doing something noble. I wanted my family, you know, to see me outside of a courtroom and outside of a jail cell. So, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to do that anymore. When I was able to make that decision for myself, I really humbled myself and started asking everybody around if they could help me find a job. And as I was asking these people, one of the jobs that came around was a third shift in a shop. I was on the saw and I walked into a shop that was kind of like this for the first time. And it was like, yo, I didn't even know these things existed. Like, this is a whole world that's going on and we're not in it, right? So immediately it became an opportunity for me to not only show that I did have skills in something and like create things and make them to print, but it also gave me an opportunity to show myself that I was more than just a felon and a teenage father, that I did have something that if I put my head down and start working towards, the sky was the limit. And, you know, it's been paying me back. And that's where my passion is now in manufacturing, is helping people have a quicker journey to that process, right? And knowing how it changed my life, I know that this is a vehicle that can change a lot of people's lives.
Like, we have a lot of people that are women and people of color in our programs, and so they're able to really kind of model, you know, good economic behavior, mainstream financial behavior, but also just be models for, hey, this is something that you know, we can access. These are jobs that are for us. And I think that message does not get out there enough. And so for our, you know, our trainees and our graduates to go back to their communities and to their families and show them that, you know, manufacturing can be an opportunity, can provide a good living and benefits and really help support an entire family. I think that's really important for people in the community to see.
When I started, like, my first manufacturing job, I was on the saw, which is like the lowest on the totem pole. I saw that they were machinists and programmers, and I tried to get a mentor. I was like, you know, pretty much looking for anybody that would teach me how to get off of the saw and onto machines. And a lady named Bobby noticed, and, you know, she pulled me to the side, and Bobby was like, hey, I see that this is something that you need. This is something that you really want. And I want to help you. I want to help teach you whatever you want to learn, and I'll be your mentor. So number one, that was like a breath of fresh air, because, you know, even though I believed in myself, I needed somebody else to believe in me as well, so that I could make that transition from, you know, this place to that place. And we also don't know how to get there sometimes. So somebody had to like make the path real for me. So Bobby first showed me how to work on manual machines. And once I had the concepts down, I got over to a CNC machine. And as I was seeing, you know, the language come across in the programs, she started teaching me how to speak the language of the machines and code. And from there, I just continued to rise. So
I'm a senior metalworking skills instructor. I oversee CNC, 3D printing, and CAD/CAM, which is computer-aided drawing and computer-aided machining. I didn't know what CNC was when I first came to JARC. When I first came here, I was actually going to be a welder. And after I realized the heat and the dirt and the muscle memory, I am not an artist. I feel like being a welder is for artists. That's not for me. I like numbers. I like air-conditioned areas. I like to take a big block of metal and make something really cool out of it. You'll be surprised like how many things you see today that was made on a CNC machine. Before I came to JARC, I recently got out of prison a few years before. And when I got out of prison, that's my first experience homelessness. So I was couch surfing for probably the next 3.5 years until I moved back to Chicago. I'm eating on the bus one day, and I run into someone that I went to high school with, and he asked me a really detailed question on what exactly am I doing in my life. I was definitely caught off guard by that question. I told him I didn't know. He told me he found this. He's currently attending this really cool trade school at JARC, and that I should check it out. JARC created opportunities for me by putting me in a position that I couldn't get in otherwise. You don't see a lot of flyers and stuff like that back then, especially in the neighborhood that I was in. So I feel like that crazy coincidence of someone mentioning a company to me by word of mouth is typically always the best way. It's the reason why I ended up there, and I feel like the opportunity they created for me was just so substantial that I came back down the road. Now I'm trying to get everyone else that same opportunity. My training experience at JARC was definitely one of a kind. I typically used to be my instructor there because the way they ran it back then, it was first come, first serve. So if I wanted to beat other people on the machine, I had to get in nice and early. Based on the way public transportation works, I can only get there either super early or right on time. So I believe there as early as I could. The training experience was something I really haven't experienced before. There was a lot of peer-to-peer learning. You got some instruction for the teacher, and you're just there with a group of guys, and you're all trying to achieve the same goal at different rates. My coordinator when I was in the program is Reagan Brewer. She's currently the president of JARC, so I think it's really phenomenal that my pathway and her pathway is definitely like superseded the average typical things you would see today coming from where we both actually came from. And I find it so funny. I started working at Jane Addams when I was 29, and she started working at Jane Addams when she was 29. So I feel like it's all coming full circle. When I was first in class line in CNC, I actually didn't get certified when I was here. There was companies that was looking for people kind of right away, and the job developer at the time, reached out to me. So like, hey, you have this company is in this location, are you willing to go and interview? So of course, I wasn't going to turn that down until the day I actually went to do the interview and learned that it was a 4-hour commute to get to the company. So I had to take a bus, a train, a metro, and I had to walk 2 miles just to get there. I stayed there for 16 months. I moved on to an even bigger company. That company helped me fast track my progress in the field of machine loop. And I was there until I actually ended up coming back to JARC. Reagan actually asked me on more than a few occasions if I could come back and teach. And I politely declined each time she asked me. So I was in a point in my life where I felt like I was making a lot of money, everything was going really great. Then I had a death of a person that was really close to me, and that was the first time I seen the true color of the company that I was working for. Typically when something like that happens, you get time off, and that kind of pressure me to come back because they depended on me a lot. But I didn't feel respected or valued at that moment because they were just trying to make money, and I had other stuff in my mind. So Reagan actually reached out to me one day, and she was not even asking if I could teach there. She was asking me if I knew anyone that could teach there. And I was like, you know what? What's the job responsibilities? Like, what's the PTO? What's all this stuff? And she was like, please don't fail me. And I was like, no, send it. I'll take a look at it. Make your best pitch, and we'll just go from there. And I feel like it all worked out. I came aboard in 2017, and here it is now, 2023. And after multiple responsibility changes and more responsibilities, now it's kind of full circle that I started as a little pup, and now I kind of worked up to being a big dog.
We now have a partnership with Mastercam. Mastercam is sort of the Cadillac of CAM software. It's widely used in the field by a lot of our industry partners. And so I think we're going to have a lot of companies that are going to be very happy that we have access to the software and that it's going to be integrated into our curriculum. And so particularly in our CNC program, it's going to be a really vital asset for us as our trainees, develop in their career paths. So not only in our training program, but for graduates when they're coming back to us and they really want to upskill, we're going to be able to offer that. So we're excited to be able to really, make sure that we're staying on top of industry trends and we have access to the same software that our employer partners are using.
The level of advancement in manufacturing has definitely taken leaps and bounds from the early 80s to the 2020s, where we're in now with robotics, which we will be getting into, 3D printing, which is additive manufacturing. So we partnered with Mastercam and getting one of the top level softwares that you can see out here today. One of the good things about getting a software such as that, they said, in many manufacturing companies. So if we can upskill people on that here, then that would give them a foot already in the door when they go to a place like that. So being in this field, it really makes you knowledgeable and it really makes you grateful that you're not just out here dilly-dallying around and you're trying to make a difference. You're trying to provide for your family. You're trying to get a really good trade and a really good community and a really good company. So I typically tell people all the time, if you're serious about trying to change your life, then this is definitely something I would recommend. But I do tell a lot of my students that if you do come through this door and I want this for you more than you want it for yourself, then maybe you have to take a look in the mirror, because the type of dedication, type of passion that people like me have, we're just going to fly right by you.
At JARC, we believe it's not just enough to be able to get a job. That doesn't solve someone's problems if they're having problems, but it also doesn't necessarily move you into the middle class. And so it's a variety of things. A paycheck is just not enough. And so we provide a variety of support services, both during an individual's training while they're with us, as well as after training. So we do follow up with our graduates and provide additional services. What we provide is sort of a package of support services. So it's not necessarily one thing, but it is public benefit screening, financial coaching and education, work readiness and digital literacy skills, as well as access to emergency supports. And so we really want to, again, make sure that people, while they're coming through the program, they can, be financially stable, because we really need their heads to be in the game while they're here, particularly working around heavy equipment and very dangerous equipment. Like, they got to be laser focused in on their training. And so we can't have outside distractions. And so the support services are built into the program so that we can help individuals really become stable and then hopefully long-term more on the asset development side.
Right before job, I was in the street, hustler, selling drugs. I live in Baltimore City. Most definitely had to make a career change. Been locked up in and out of jail. Bad example for my children. I was experiencing jobs after jobs, getting turned down. I had showers falling on my back, dating more. They was taking almost 50% of my check. I just had to just do something different. What career path can I choose to make more money to support my child support obligations? Now, fast forward, 7, 8 years job. I got my credit together. I bought a house. Credit building, my wage going up in salary, certifications after certifications. I got my own business now. Moving forward, I'm just trying to just grow and get better in the trade as we go. My pressure hit when bills need to be paid. Mom and dad need food, and it's tough. And I chose the street just to just to help and better my family, but the route didn't go as well as planned. Once I got through the training program, everything went well. Everything went according to plans. Everything started following track. My kids, I got one of my sons, he's in Widener, PA College, taking a mechanical engineering. I got another son in Louisville College in Maryland, taking a mechanical engineering. Going hand in hand, doing the same thing I'm doing now with CNC machining in the program. I got another son, he's in automotive. I got 5 boys and 4 girls. So I was kind of like running around out here, just going on the streets. But I don't regret them, but I love my kids. 2 granddaughters. Grandson, I introduced them to the machines when last event we came here. Just trying to put at least my boys on with the trade.
I think that there's a lot of investment happening in manufacturing, and I think we're going to see, continued growth in the sector. Obviously the workforce issue is a threat, and that's something that we collectively as an industry need to help solve that. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of growth given all the investment that the current administration has made.
Because of my criminal background, just begging for an interview, but now I got these certifications. It's a high demand in this trade, and I'm going full force with it, and the value stands where is that the companies need them. It is a high demand in this trade, in this field right now, and I'm gonna take advantage of this whole training situation, the facility, the everything that got something to do with manufacturing. Right now, I'm at a good place right now. These skills gave me the freedom and the confidence to go out and seek new opportunities in the work field that I love doing in this trade.